but I do have friends that spent a lot of money on it. They've got it sitting in their house doing nothing now. It's something that we really should bring back if we can, by utilizing peak, by not having people use their energy at peak times. It can help prevent building more coal-fired power plants or other energy-creating projects. If you can cut down on your demand, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that we will have time for one more question before we ask for your closing statements. And the question that I have in front of me is, name 3 reasons why you are the best candidate for the job. And we will start with BJ.
From my experience in working with people, and working with a large group of people, working at the state level, and working...
Could you grab the mic, please?
I'm sorry. My experience in working with people in the education system, working at the state level and at the local level, my experience of working on boards and understanding the difference between board governance and management decisions, my experience in working with a large group of people such as my parent group, and I would be more than pleased to work with the membership in that way by listening and being honest and open and being very transparent as to their needs.
Thank you. Gary?
Well, since I worked for DMEA for 37 years, I believe I've been exposed to a lot of things that happen in the electrical industry. And these last 3 years I've been on the board, so that's given me more exposure. And my temperament is, I like to think things through before I make a big decision. And that, I think those are my assets.
Thank you. Jenny?
Having been in business for 19 years, a successful business, shows me how to run a business like DMEA. I've also served on the Delta Area Chamber Board for 5 years and been in the community quite a bit. So.
Thank you. Sue?
Well, first of all, I'm a CPA, so I understand financial statements, I understand the tax return, I understand cost-benefit analysis and all that interesting stuff that you guys probably cross your eyes when you're here. My husband and I started a small business from the ground up and made it very successful over the last 28 years. And also I have served on a lot of boards for the last 26 years, both locally here in Delta County and all over the country. So I have a lot of board experience, and I also have been going to the board meetings for the last 3 months and really getting to know what's going on with the company. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, I run a small business. I sell products all over the world. So I have an understanding of how I think things should run efficiently. I think really though the biggest thing is if you're going to be on this board, there's all sorts of issues. By God, you better stand up and take it and do something. That's it. Do something about the issues that are being dealt, that we're dealing with, because if you don't, nothing's going to change. You got to take on the issues, and you got to take on the people who are going after this stuff. I had one other thought, but now, well, here it is. People would look at me and say, oh, that guy is scary. No, I'm passionate about what is happening in this country. And this is one thing that I can have some influence over. The federal government, forget about it. But here, I can do something about it.
Thank you. Steve?
I've been involved with boards and planning commissions and in the community for a long time, and I have reasonably well honed negotiating skills, and I have a real good, I don't have a real good public speaking mind, but I do have a real good education on the way co-ops run, and I would like to have this seat for you guys.
Thank you. Dave?
I've been doing all kinds of different things my whole life. I've been retired 10 years, and I've got the time to use some of my experiences to help represent the users of electricity in Delta-Montrose counties. I've been on a federal government's regional biomass energy program for 3 years and looked at all kinds of different ways to create energy, like making diesel fuel out of animal fat and manure, and creating electricity out of manure or wood chips. Most of the projects we looked at didn't pan out, but there's a lot of opportunities out there to discover, and we need to work with the NREL, the National Renewable Energy Lab over in Gold, and do what we can to supply some jobs for Delta County. Thank you.
John?
The first thing that I think I'd bring is, I've spent my career in technology. I understand it, and I see how important it is to drive businesses today. And I've had a long history with innovation in an industry, and I think there's a tremendous opportunity for more innovation in the utility business. Second thing is, I've been in the telecom industry, and we've talked a lot about broadband tonight. Broadband is, one of my key interests, and something that, I have a lot of experience in deploying networks and know how to architect them and build them. And finally, energy has been a hobby for me. I've talked a bit about some of the things that I've done on a personal note, and I'm very interested in the energy sector, and I'm also a board member of Solar Energy International, and I've followed the solar energy industry for probably more than a decade. So I bring a lot of these various competencies together, and I think it'll be a benefit to DMEA.
Thank you. That leaves us with just their closing statements, and you each have about a minute in order to put your last pitch to the voters here. And we will start with District 6, and we will start with BJ.
Thank you. I believe that Delta-Montrose Electric Association is a quality outfit. I believe it has good employees, good quality employees, and I think it's been under good management. We're starting with a new manager right away. I believe the board has diligently worked to try to provide the best service possible at the lowest cost possible. I would like to be a member of that board so I could be a part of that action in doing what we need to do. There are many issues that are going to face us that we've talked about tonight. We've talked about the hydroelectric, we've talked about the clean energy, the green energy, we've talked about broadband. All those things are possible, and they are innovative and in our future, but we have to be forward thinking in our way to accomplish all these things. The founders of the Uncompahgre Valley with the Gunnison Tunnel were forward thinking. Without the Gunnison Tunnel, we would be nowhere. And right now, we need to be forward thinking in our way forward with DMEA.
Thank you. Terry?
Well, thank you, Karen, for this candidate forum, although this is not one of my choice things to do. I think my experience, which I've mentioned before, working for DMEA in previous years and have been on the board for 3 years, has given me a lot of exposure and experience, and therefore I'd like to be re-elected. Remember Terry Brown.
Thank you. Sue, we'll start with you.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. It was really a pleasant surprise to see this room so filled. My background is I'm a CPA with 30 years experience and also 28 years as a small business person and a farmer, and being on numerous boards for the last 26 years almost consistently. I know how to be a board member. I know how to look at the financials. I think I can help the board a lot by that. And I have the experience, the time, and the knowledge to be an excellent board member and lead DMEA proudly to the future. Thank you.
Jimmy?